If you have been buying into the Swiss franc, then my dear friend, you are a very profitable trader within the last 2 weeks. You can see it right here on the relative currency strength meter. You can see the Swiss franc absolutely ripping in long term, seriously ripping. And then over here, you can see in details, the Swiss franc highly powerful compared to every other thing in the Forex market alongside gold as a metal. And this goes to show that recently Swiss franc is literally the usual. It has always been just like gold. It is the reserve for people who need to keep their money safe. Recently, the US dollar has been tanking hard and has been very volatile with very abrupt move thanks to the tariff war going on between the US and so many other countries. And this, my dear friends, requires people who have finance to want to put their money in a safe space. And one of the safest space you can have your money is in either metals, precious materials, or in a country that is very, very stable and reliable. And the most reliable country when it comes to finance in the financial market has always been the Swiss franc. Like the Swiss franc, absolutely always on the stable, steady going, never afraid of unnecessary rough shakes and all that. It's just there doing its thing as usual. So people rather pick their money from the constant fluctuating aspects of the dollar and every other market and just put it in the Swiss franc or in the gold. So if gold is not ripping, Swiss franc is next. And you can see recently a lot of people are now trusting the Swiss bank with their cash. That is what is happening. This is what you get to understand when you start to look into fundamental analysis more and more often. As a trader, if you're trading short term, fundamental analysis is not so weighty. Instead, you're looking at market sentiment. What is the general market looking out for, right? Because in that short time frame, people can just look to shorts for a while so that they can end up buying because they know the economy is about to move, right? So you're looking at the full sentiment of people, while as a higher time frame trader, you're looking at the sentiment of the news and the economy as a whole. So I don't do short time trading. I don't do scalping and all those shorter time frame trading. I stop at the 1 hour. I do not go below that. And looking at that, I can see sitting on the higher time frame has been the most peaceful thing I have ever done. I cannot trade the prop firm account with this style of trading. But if I do figure out cash and investments to manage, I know for a fact that I will manage it well. Now, let's dive into the real thing for this week, the weekly review of the entire market. But before we dive into the week, I'd like to say thank you all for watching to this level. If you're new to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It gives me the encouragement that my videos out there every week is really helping somebody every time. Without further ado, let's head right into it. Now, recently I made myself a small feat, right? I made myself a small gift. I recently looked at the Edge Finder tool created by A1 Trading Company owned by Trader Nick, a namesake of mine. And I've been looking for how to understand fundamental and how to utilize it in the market. I do not understand it completely yet, but I kind of understand that I can create an impact measure, right? A measure that tells me when an economy is good or bad in terms of fundamental analysis. And I created this sheet after looking at the A1 trading book. Now, I'm not looking to sell this to anybody. It is not my idea, so it is not original, but it is something that came out of, okay, I saw what these guys did and I kind of understood what they were doing to an extent, and I decided to create something of my own since I cannot afford to pay for their own tool yet. But if I can't pay for their tool, I'd rather pay for their tool than go through all this stress. Now, what this is basically, I take the economic calendar and then I create it into an impact calculator. So the impact calculator tells me if a currency is good, right? Like if it's worth buying or is worth selling. You know, like it's telling me, is it bullish or bearish? Is it neutral? That's what this whole sheet does. So you can see right here, the Australian dollar the Canadian dollar, the Swiss franc, the euro, the British pounds, Japanese yen, New Zealand dollar, and the US dollar. So I was talking about Swiss franc being the most stable place to put your money in, and I know people saw this and will wonder, but it's all bearish, it's all bearish. Now this is the funny thing about the Swiss franc. The Swiss franc can be very bearish, right? But let me shock you. Do you see this chart right now? Do you see the absolute rip up? This is a weekly strength record, like on weekly over here. I wish they could make this more detailed. Maybe peeps could make this all more detailed, like a better graph, but this is what we have for now. And you can see the Swiss franc has always remained somewhat around a flat line, even with all this bearish story ongoing. The economy has always been very stable. Where the hell is it? Has been quite stable, and because the rest economy is very volatile right now, like I said, people are taking their money and putting it in the safe haven, which is the Swiss franc, and this is leading to massive rise. And you can see right here, there is no competition between this and any other economy or any other currency in this place. Put that on the monthly and you'll be surprised. You see that rip off, straight move, take off, and it's going hard. Same thing with the euro in the monthly, but the euro is slowing down. You can see it slowed down, went up again. So this, my dear friends, these two currencies, as you can see here, after the Swiss franc, you have the you have gold, and then you have euro. You see these two currencies, they are known for stability. These countries are known for heavy stability. And over here on my market impact calculator, you can see the Swiss franc and the euro. The Swiss franc looks like it is bearish, and the euro looks like it is, slightly bullish, slightly bearish, mixture of both, somewhere around the neutral angle. But because they are safe havens, you can see them moving at absolutely beautiful paces in the positive. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know I use this for analysis, right? I've spent the last almost 10 minutes trying to explain what the fundamental is really saying in terms of strengths of what is good and what is weak, right? Now, this goes to tell you that recently the euro and the Swiss franc are the best things to hold on to currently, until news tells us otherwise. Currently, they are the best things to hold. So if you're looking at any currency right now, it should be any currency that has the Swiss franc or the euro with it. You should be thinking of buying the Swiss franc or the euro compared to any other thing. But that by the wayside, let's dive into the weekly review. The weekly review, I'm only going to be reviewing all of this right here if I have the chance, right? I'll do it as fast as possible and as simple as possible. Why am I reviewing only this? These are the only things I am looking at in the market. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 market pairs I am looking out for in the market for this week. And I'm not saying that they will have trades this week. Like last week, I told you guys there were no trades last week because I was waiting for this week to complete. That is the week that just passed to be completed for my opportunities to start picking up. I had about 20 and then I've removed 3. This goes to tell you that those 3 didn't print a good move for me. But I've not looked at all of them yet, so let's just take a good look at all of them together. Starting from the monthly, we're still in April, and the April is not done. Until April is done, then I can come back to looking at monthly. But last week is finished, and when last week finished, we have what? Our usual weekly fair value gap. People call it ICT technique, but I do not actually trade ICT. It is somewhat ICT because of the word fair value gap, but it is not ICT, right? It is not ICT. So basically, this is an imbalance. Actually, that's what it is. A buying imbalance. So there was way more buying orders than selling orders here. And what it means is there are likely going to be buyers within this space waiting for price to come to a good enough cheap price for them to buy those orders of people who are selling. So on the 4 hours, I am simply waiting for price. You can see I already have it right here. I am simply waiting for price to come down into this place and meet a buying zone. And right now, I literally have two things in my eyes right now. I have a very strong what is it called again? Demand, supply and demand. So I have a very good demand zone right here. This is a very strong demand zone. Now a lot of people are wondering, which strategy do I use? I use a mixture of three things. I use a MMC, which is money making concept. I combine it with supply and demand, the basics of supply and demand I know from Bernd Skorupinski, and I also add up a little bit of Wyckoff theory. So I'm looking at the market and I'm seeing three different things at once. When I'm looking at the charts, I'm seeing these three things at once. And when three of them are just all in one circle, I really love those setups. Like this one right here, it has two in line. So I'm expecting price to come around here. And then I'll expect to see a 4-hour sharp turn. If you do not know what sharp turn is, I'd like you to go back to previous videos, or you head into Ayo Jansen's YouTube channel and you'll find sharp turns there. He teaches it real well. I learned it from him. And you see price coming down here, create a 4-hour sharp turn or a 1-hour order flow to the upside, and then I will take my move for a stop loss just below the last supply zone, last demand zone. Is this a demand or supply? I've forgotten the name. I'm mixed already now. So below the last zone, and then take profit aiming for about 2 RR, depending on where price does the turning, most likely depending on where price does the turning. And also two things, right? I look at two things. That is my technical analysis. Remember, fundamental analysis says euro buy, and you can see what I'm saying. This is euro Australian dollar. I am literally looking for a buying opportunity, even though the market is looking like it's about to go bearish. I may be wrong, it doesn't matter, but same thing here. Similar situation in this place, very similar situation. I have my supply zone right here, chilling within a weekly fair value gap. So I'll show you that all within a second. On the monthly, we do not have a move. Euro, New Zealand dollar. On the monthly, we do not have a move because the month is not over. But on the weekly, we do have this fair value gap showing up right here, space between this and this. And then in the daily, I have price slow down here before it made a huge run. And then on the 4 hours, I'm expecting sharp turn within this same area. So what do I do? I don't need to stress myself much. I just take my write up here, right? I take this write up as usual, and I just put it right here because it's exactly the same thing I'm looking for. On the euro British pounds, now what is the British pound saying against the euro? Well, the British pound is slightly bullish also, right? Slightly bullish, seeming to be a little bit better than the euro self in terms of fundamental. But in terms of strength, what do we see? The euro is seemingly stronger than the pounds because of stability. Don't forget, the euro is known for stability, very stable economy. And over here, we can see that dip in the euro, in the pounds compared to the euro. And also on the daily, you can see that slight slide. It's sliding downwards. So what am I looking for here? Buying opportunities. But though I know my buying opportunities will not be too strong, they will just be okay to move up for a while. So what do? You can see price moved extremely strong away from this position. I do not really expect price to come down here and then I'll start buying. I do not really trust such move because this is like way too far compared to where this is and the size of this. If this was like huge, right? This was like huge and price was away, and so I would say it's possible. But this is not. I mean, let me even show you what I mean. So if I should take this right and put it right here, you can see we're likely going to form another of these fair value gaps just within this run rather than returning down here for something. So what do? I'm looking on the daily. So this is where I will get proof that okay, there's a tendency price is likely going to now, find its way down here. So currently I do not see any fair value gap on the daily except for this one right here. It's quite obvious, right? It's quite obvious. this one right here, and it's sitting with a very good overlapping defense. You see that? That's my daily overlapping defense, OLD. So in my opinion, I have like a good reason to wait for price to come down. Now, before I was not so sure. Now I am better, not really sure. There's no certainty in trading, right? But I have a better expectation that, okay, price can come down here. Though I expect turbulence if price makes its way down here first. I expect some sort of turbulence, meaning I expect price to do something like this around here before it then starts to make it for this direction. So I'm expecting something crazy here, though, because of this this serious consolidation around this spot. So on the 4 hours, you can see exactly what I said. There is a high tendency of a disturbance somewhere around this zone, and this is a 4 hours disturbance that we might likely witness, and price might even jump out of here and run up. Might, but then again, we're not so certain, we're not so sure. So I'll just leave the 4 hours alone. You know, I don't like to go below the weekly. Normally, I don't like to go below weekly, but in this case, I want to see what the daily is doing. And that's for the Euro, British pounds. Now, for the Euro against the US dollar, I mean, I don't even need to say much. You can see the US dollar is very, very neutral in this place. Well neutral, but better neutral than the Euro neutral. But on the strength index, what I see here is the Euro is still more capable than the dollar in terms of what people are doing in the market. Same thing when we look here, the Euro against the dollar. You can see the dollar tanking hard. Even on the weekly, you can see that drastic fall. But what is my next option? My next option is this. So I'm going to take a look at 1 week of info, right? 1 week of info. Focus is going to be on the US dollar and the Euro news upcoming, right? So these are all the news, both small impacts, low impacts, high impact. These are all of it. And we see Euro bombarding us, just giving us a meeting tomorrow, bombarding us on Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way till Friday. We have lots and lots of Euro and US dollar news. So it's going to be quite rocky if you are in the Euro and US dollar space of trades this week. Don't look at this small trade, small or rather low impact news like they cannot do anything. Trust me, this low impact news you see here, if all come out with similar sentiment, there's a high tendency that market is going to move in respect to that sentiment. Long before we start seeing red folder news, you're going to start seeing some kind of crazy moves thanks to this low impact and medium impact news you're seeing here before Wednesday. And Wednesday, we're going to see massive rips thanks to core retail sales and retail sales prices month over month. And then on Thursday, we're likely going to see another crazy move thanks to unemployment claims and the main refinancing rate for the euro. That by the wayside, what do I expect to see? So I expect to see the craziness bring it all the way down here first on the daily. But on the monthly, what do we see? The monthly, okay, so on the monthly, we are likely creating a monthly fair value gap, but the month is not over, so no certainty there. On the weekly, now on the weekly, we do not have something tangible. We have this very tiny brother. You can see extremely small, not reasonable enough to be called a context, in my opinion. Instead, I see all of this as, I see the whole thing here as a clear demand zone. Is it a demand or supply? I keep mistaking the words. Demand is when, okay, yeah, demand zone. So I see it as a clear demand zone, supply zone. Yeah, so I see it as a clear demand zone area, in my opinion. The whole thing here is just a demand zone, including this, matter of fact, this guy. Though price has started ripping, but this guy. So there's a high tendency price is going to find its way over time down here. But on the daily, what do we see? Is there an opportunity on the daily? So on the daily, we have this likelihood opportunity. This is a weekly demand zone. And I know people are wondering why the hell I'm combining two different strategies together. My dear friends, it's not for safety reasons. It's just the way I see the market. I see the market through multiple things. I've learned a lot. Like I said, I've learned a lot. And with all of this right now, what do I see? I see price doing something very, very funny, right? On the daily, now you all know I don't trust daily context. First and foremost, I do not trust daily context because my stats has shown me that I have only a 25% chance to win a daily contest. That means if I'm using this daily contest to trade, I only have a 25% chance of being correct, which is a very terrible opportunity in my opinion. So from this, I cannot deduce anything useful because the market might come down here, kick on this current daily zone, which is around the 1.11465, and then push back up, or we might just see steady tanking like all the way down. But I don't really trust daily context, to be honest. So in this market, I do not have a say to go with it. I just looked at it and I don't have a say, but I'm just going to watch out this daily. If it's looking beautiful enough, I might take it, but I don't see it as a useful context. All right, euro, the US dollar, Canadian dollar. On the fundamentals, what do we have? The US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Whoa, you should be buying the US dollar in terms of fundamental analysis. But over here, what is happening? The strength says long term, it's preferable you buy the card. And in the history book, it is preferable, but trust me, on this history book, I still see the card below the US dollar. The daily, on the other hand, the card is now above it, kind of. That's just on the daily. So I go back here again, daily, right? Daily. Let's see what's going on between the US dollar. See it right here. This is the daily, and the Canadian dollar, yeah, right here. So weekly, you can see weekly lower than this, but on the daily and on the 4 hours, you see more tendency to buy the Canadian dollar. So is there any news to support this claim that the Canadian dollar is most likely going to do something beautiful for us this week? Okay, so the Canadian dollar has CPI news on Tuesday. Nice. And then other news and overnight rates on Wednesday. So let's lock our fingers like this and look at this. On the weekly, what do we have? Nothing useful, nothing absolutely useful. And then on the daily, this is why I have problems with this currency. On the daily, we have a clear show of Canadian dollar strength, basically. So this one, I have more assurance here than I had in the previous currency, right? I have more assurance here than I had in the previous currency because I could see a clear push below a zone, like a clear push below a demand zone. Price clearly went below it. What are we looking for is a retest, which is short-term high, sharp turn, and then push down. This is what I am looking for. So you can see how I select daily moves, and you can see I'm selecting it from the 4 hours, not even from the weekly. From the 4 hours is where I'm selecting it from. But actually, what's going to happen? This is likely going to happen on the 1 hour though. So let's put this as 1 hour bearish sharp turn. I'm not going to be looking for order flow here. I'm not going to be looking for order flow here. So if I see price make its way down up here this week, and then I'll wait for that sharp turn and I'll take a trade. New Zealand Swiss franc. I'm being quite fast, forgive me, but we do not have much time. I have spent a long time in this market, in this video right now. The New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc, and I do not even need to look back at that place. I'm supposed to be buying the Swiss franc, meaning I'm supposed to be shorting this market. Monthly, I do not have a contest. Weekly, I have a very credible contest. I'm not even bothering myself. It's the usual 4 hours. Matter of fact, what am I doing? I don't even need to stress much. Delete this stuff. It's just the usual thing. Oh, I don't have it in pin now, so let's just stick it out. So it's the usual 4 hours bearish sharp turn, or 1 hour bearish order flow. I'm not even going to bother look at this market even more. You can see it right there. My weekly context, I'm waiting for price to do what it does. What else do I have? I have a zone. You can see right here. This is like Wyckoff. Price went down, took out this low and pushed. So basically, my dear friends, this is explosive. This is explosive. So I have this and this demand, these supply zones. You should already know what I'm going to do, right? You should already know what I'm going to do. Short position is going to be coming in when price gives me a sharp turn. Stop loss below both supply zones, and take profit targeting the usual 2 arrow. But price needs to come here and give me signs first, right? I do not just jump in and take trades. Australian dollar, Swiss franc are the usual. I don't even need to stress. Like, you can see the market lined up. And I was saying this last week. I wasn't going to trade last week because all I can see happening is I just want the market to line up throughout last week. And the market did it. Last week was just the market lining up. That was just what last week was all about. The market was lining up for me. Let's see. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. So Australian dollar, the Japanese yen. Oh, okay. You should be buying the Japanese yen instead. I mean, fundamentals are telling me to buy the Japanese yen. Over here, what do I see? The yen to the dollar. Wow, the Australian dollar is terrible. Okay, and then my last but not least observation. AUD, Australian dollar on the daily. Japanese yen stronger. Japanese yen is way stronger. And on the monthly is still stronger. And do I have any reason to be scared of volatility this week? Yes, I do have volatility coming on Thursday thanks to Australian dollar, and I may have the push I'm looking for within the week. So, my dear friends, same story, 4 hour sharp turn or 1 hour bearish order flow right here. The Australian dollar, New Zealand. Okay, over here I had something funny ongoing, right? I was teaching a friend something this afternoon. Person came to my house and I was just teaching him something I learned, something called Wyckoff theory. A lot of people condemned ICT and said he's just rebranding Wyckoff in some of the streets. So I went to learn Wyckoff, and I'm going to put a link to the video of a person I saw. It's a very interesting video for anybody. So this is what he's, in fact, I'm not going to explain anything. I'm just going to put the video up there. But basically, I'm seeing a Wyckoff happening around here, which is, and you can see my path already drawn. Price is going to move up, come down to retest. It's going to be a retest, maybe here, I don't know, but there will be a retest and possibly move up. If this Wyckoff is about to take up, if it is going to be a Wyckoff theory. But I don't think this is really going to be a good Wyckoff, because as much as price took out this low and is currently pushing up, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. The Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. Let's go. Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. I would rather be buying the New Zealand dollar. In that case, you can see right now what I'm saying is, it means this market is supposed to be going for short-term moves. Like, I'm supposed to be shorting this market. So basically, I'm going to look at this market again, but let's take a look at it. So New Zealand dollar against the Australian dollar, and you can see you should be buying this and selling this, right? Coming here for the monthly, Australia, New Zealand, you can see they are both crumbling hard, but the New Zealand dollar is crumbling less harder than the Australian dollar. You can see it was underneath before, and then now it's coming back up. And then on the daily, what do we have? Well, on the daily, similar situation. Put your hands leveled for the New Zealand and hope it continues its run better. And over here, we can see this party move. I cannot even describe this right now. But basically, what am I seeing here? In fact, I need to clean up this whole thing. So what am I seeing here? I'm seeing this. And this is not a good assurance to trade this market. Matter of fact, in my opinion, I will not be looking at this market anymore after seeing this. There's nothing needed. But then again, take a good look at this wick right here. That is a strong rejection, like a very, very strong rejection. And if you are asked, where is the supply zone here? My dear friends, I can see clearly this is a supply zone. And is this coming from any demand? Is this coming from any demand? I think it is. This is the demand zone. This is the demand zone. Is this demand that strong enough to take price back up? There's also one here, one very small one here. I like to use the preferred version anyway. But does this add up? Okay. In terms of move, this is it. This is the big brother. Okay. This is the small brother. So we have a tendency to buy up within this area. So price is most likely going to do whatever it does and probably slowly or quickly move into this or this and most likely push down. Most likely. My dear friends, this market, I'm seeing the market through too many lenses at the same time. I don't even know what I'm seeing anymore. Also, like I was preaching to somebody this afternoon, this is a good Wyckoff trade happening. If price should find its way above this zone, then we're looking for a retest and a good run up. If price should make its trajectory above this, its move above this high. Until then, I would not be doing anything in this market. I would not be trading this market. I don't see an opportunity here, so I can remove it from my list. Up next on my list is the Euro Canadian dollar. I should be buying the Euro, of course. And buying opportunities already happened. 2 candle rejection clearly made move. Price came for the high. Now we are looking for new weekly context. On the daily, do we have a daily context? No. We see price failing to stay above this high, giving us a strong rejection. I should be buying the Euro, yes, but I think for now the Euro is going to find its way at least to this level. At least to this level before it starts to rally up again. But currently, the Euro Canadian dollar, I do not have a trade here. No opportunities for me. I can close this one off and move on to the next. So I'm just filtering through the entire market. What the hell do I want to see? Okay, currently we have British pound, Canadian dollar. Who is better? Let's see, British pound, the Canadian dollar. You should be buying the pounds in terms of fundamental information on the market. Pounds against the Canadian dollar, and you can see it right here. They are very close to each other. You should be buying the pounds also. This is not a market I want to put myself into. It is way too close to each other. You can see it right here. I'm seeing very messy price action. The daily, absolutely not. I would not even bother looking at this market. This is not a market I want to put myself into. British pound, New Zealand dollar. I can't find it on my sheet. Let's see. Where did I stop? Okay, I haven't looked here, and here, and here. Oh, I think I deleted one accidentally. The Euro Japan. Have I looked at Australian dollar, Japanese yen? Okay, yeah. So the Euro against the Japanese yen. You should be buying the Euro, of course. That is for sure. Let's see. Monthly, I don't have an opportunity. On the weekly, on the other hand, woo! That was a missed opportunity last week. Severely missed opportunity. And why did I miss it? Well, it's very simple. I didn't even see an opportunity to come into this market. I didn't see the sharp turn at all. It seems like it happened on weekend and the market has moved. Because if I had seen it, I would most likely have placed trade here. I most likely have placed a trade here and I would have been picked out. I would have been stopped out actually. So it's a good thing I didn't even see this trade. It's a good thing I didn't see this trade. Very, very good thing I didn't see this trade. So, my dear friends, not all trades should be picked up. But currently right here, you should be buying the euro. And I'm not seeing any opportunities in this market anytime soon for my strategy. So I do not need to be seeing this on my watch list. British pounds against the Australian dollar. I think I already did analysis on this. British pounds against the Australian dollar. I should be buying the pounds. Pound Australian dollar. Oh, that's a strong reason to buy. Strong reason. All right, let's see if there's an opportunity. None. This is looking risky in my opinion. No, I am so not coming into this market anytime soon. So why am I not coming into this market anytime soon? This is a very risky bearish move last week. Like, the move downwards is way too strong in my opinion for me to even look at this market. Secondly, I do not have an overlapping reason to stick to this trade apart from this thing right here, which is not overlapping enough. Should I try checking this? Okay, this is not overlapping either. And this is just trouble smelling everywhere. It's just trouble everywhere. This is not a market I want to be in at all. My dear friends, this is not a market I want to be in. I'm serious about it. This is not a market I want to be in. Nope. Most people would think this is something good, watch price. If price comes in here and creates a sharp turn, take it. I don't want to take this one. No, it's too risky. British pound, Australian dollar, I'm not touching it. British pound, New Zealand dollar, similar scenario. Looks very shady. Way too much negative for me to even bat an eyelid at this market. This is going to go off my list. New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. Let's see. Fundamentally, New Zealand against Canadian dollar. Oh, that was a mistake. I should be buying the New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar against Canadian dollar. It's weaker here. What's the history? Okay, it should be. You can see the Canadian dollar is slipping slowly on the daily. On the weekly, you can see the New Zealand dollar tilting upwards aggressively. And they are way too close to each other on the monthly. But we're trading mostly on the 4 hours, and the 4 hours, the New Zealand dollar has seriously surpassed. Buying the New Zealand dollar is way more credible though. And so we're looking at the monthly. Obviously, you can see that reversal for strong buying opportunities, cutting off all this market liquidity around here, if there were liquidity around here. But price has started retracing real hard. Ooh, that retracement is strong. But I have a weekly move right here to sell. Like I said, same thing as the other two. I saw the move is way too strong. You can see this return. It is way too strong for me to trust that this would hold. Way too strong for me. I don't trust it. And as you can see, we already know we should be buying the New Zealand dollar. Meaning, if I'm to be looking for opportunities here, I should be looking out for this instead. I should be looking out for this instead. And it's beginning to look like another Wyckoff happening. Take out the high, take out the low, and then move crazy. Take out this, took out this and this, came down, took out this. There's a high tendency we might see price dance something like this and take out this. And when it does take out this, if it does take out this, You can see a small retracement into this place and then a blast off, probably to this area, probably. So my dear friends, I don't really see the reason why I should be here, because my analysis is seriously capsized against it. Oh, I just removed the wrong thing. I think that was a British pound CAD. Or does Control Z even work? It doesn't. So British pound, Canadian dollar. Let's see. I think that was it. So anyway, pounds against the dollar and Canadian dollar. Actually, I should be buying the pound. I think I looked at the AUD, not this. Okay. No. I ain't even bothered about that one anymore. I'm not even gonna attempt to look at that market. And last but not least, the Australian dollar, US dollar. I've spent a long time in this trade today, in this analysis video today. It's been so long. AUD USD, right? AUD against the US dollar. The US dollar have way more neutral citizens, but based on the current craziness, buying the US dollar still seems way more credible. US dollar against the Australian dollar. Wow, the Australian dollar is catching up hard. I don't even. Am I seeing an opportunity at all? Nah. Alright, my dear friends, you can see clearly I have reduced everything I am looking at on this chart from about 17 pairs or so to now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things to look out for. So this is why it's called a filtering process. 9, actually 8, because I'm not looking at this. So 8 things to look out for. This is why it's called the filtering process. I have filtered a lot of markets this afternoon and I have seen only 9 things to look at. I can take a look at other markets maybe later in the night or in the daytime and then see if there are other trades. But for now, this is what I see as reasonable to trade. I like to tell you guys, stay safe out there in trading. It is not easy. It is simple, but not easy. And in my opinion, learn technical analysis well. And then immediately you're good at technical analysis, your next target should be fundamental analysis from wherever you can learn it. I do not have the finance to learn fundamental analysis from a paid mentor. I said I had a job. I know you think that. I work in Nigeria and our salary is not useful if you compare it to world standards. The cost of the Edge Finder 2 is $1,000 something plus, and $1,000 to be made in my country based on my current salary would take me about roughly 6 months without spending a dime from my salary. Now imagine that, and I'm telling you right now that my salary is not enough for me to survive for a month. Well, so that's like a year and about 6 months for me to be able to save up, if I start saving from today, to be able to afford the A1 trading Edge Finder 2, so I don't have to go through this stress of copying and pasting on my Excel sheets to see fundamental analysis. But nevertheless, one day we'll cross that barrier. Until then, I'll say thank you all for watching this analysis and do well to subscribe and like this video and share also to people who want to know analysis like this. Then also I will be making breakdown of each and every market one after the other later in time, where you all can pick it up and watch each individual market I'm looking at and seeing the real analysis behind it. But for now, I'd like to say thank you all for watching. Catch you all on another one. Peace.